Today, I'm gonna show you guys how to build an extremely profitable product on Amazon that can make you extremely wealthy. Towards the end, somewhere in the middle, I'm gonna give you a bonus piece that allows you to evaluate and measure all of the data for your product research so that you know whether or not you're doing a great job in your product research and if this product has huge potential. Now, when you go to Amazon, how often have you run into this situation? You see a product selling on Amazon, let's say 27 times a day. As an Amazon seller, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you see a product selling 27 times a day? You wanna be that. You wanna sell that product. And then you go over to Alibaba and oh my goodness, you see the exact same product selling on Alibaba for a third the cost. Now what's going through your mind? I can do that. So first I want to do that, and then it goes from want to I can do that. Now here's where it gets really interesting. If I buy from Alibaba and I sell on Amazon, I'm gonna make a ton of money if the cost that I spend on Alibaba is way lower than the cost that I sell it for on Amazon. And yet this is a recipe for total disaster. And here's why. You find this product selling like crazy on Amazon, so you're really excited because it's selling a ton. And then you go over to Alibaba and you say, well, it's selling for like a third the cost, so why not I purchase that, have it shipped to Amazon's fulfillment center, I sell it, and I can make 2/3 the money. But there's just a little problem that most people don't know about, especially if they just started on Amazon. And here's what's gonna happen. First, you start selling. And for maybe the first week or two, it's selling like crazy, you're excited, the money's coming in, like you were really enthused about this, and it sells fast. And the reason it sells fast is because there's already a demand for it. But then, as you see cash coming in so much you could probably swim in it, you suddenly notice one day that the sales stop. And you go, what's going on? What happened to my product? And you go over to your listing and ta-da, your add to cart button is gone. And instead of having an add to cart button, it says see all buying options. So you click on it and it shows you all these other sellers on your listing, and the majority of them are selling it for less than you are. And immediately your sales have stopped and your business is now going down. And you're sitting here thinking, well, what do I do with all this inventory? Well, I know, I'll just drop my price so I get the buy box back. Well, the problem is you drop your price, all of a sudden your profit margins are squeezed thin and you're no longer making money. If this happens to you, it means you fell for the Me Too syndrome. It's the idea that, look, if they're selling it and making a lot of money, well, I can too. And if I see it on Alibaba and I see it on Amazon, well, why don't I just buy from Alibaba and sell it? And the Me Too syndrome has caused the majority of Amazon sellers to fail. I'm gonna say it again. The majority of Amazon sellers have not succeeded because of a lack of knowledge and understanding of how to avoid the Me Too syndrome. So today I'm gonna give you guys 3 steps on how you can avoid this. And these strategies are not just gonna show you how to find a product that's super profitable, but how to build it so that no one can compete with you. This removes the hijackers, the copycats, all the wannabes, people, they may not even be hijacking your listing, but they create a separate listing that's competing with yours, and they lower the price, and there's really nothing you can do. I'm gonna show you guys how to avoid that. Now, before I get into 3 steps, I just have to make one qualification. There is no guarantee you will make money unless you understand the market. So as you listen to these 3 steps, make sure you understand the principles, not just the how-to, behind what I'm sharing. Because the better you understand the principles, the more you're gonna be able to apply it to any product category. So you could be selling a kitchen, you could be selling in fashion, you could be selling in health, you could be doing fitness. It doesn't matter, these apply to every single one of those categories. So ready? 3 killer methods that can make your customers ecstatic and also can make you rich. Now, I want you to meet my toothbrush. We will call him Sam.
Why do you always call a product Sam?
His name is Sam. And Sam is gonna take us through each of these 3 killer methods for selling a product on Amazon and finding a differentiated product on Amazon. Method number 1, build a better solution to an existing problem. So why do you use the products that you use? Let me actually go back. Why do you use a toothbrush? To clean your teeth, okay. And the reason you clean your teeth is because what?
So they look better.
It's healthy, looks, feel better. Huh? There's food in your, what's the problem with food in your teeth?
Keep them clean.
Prevents infection, keeps them clean, it looks better. So there's all these motivations. So when you're trying to figure out, hey, how do I create a superior version of a product that already exists? Those are the kind of questions you want to ask.
And
You're
sweep
not going to look at
away
the product
from the
and say,
gums by moving
how
the
can I make a better
toothbrush
product?
up
You're going
and
to say,
down.
why are they using
During this
it?
motion,
Oh, for clean
it helps
teeth.
to use the
Okay, how can I create a product or a version of that product that cleans their teeth better, that makes their teeth less prone to infection? Build a better solution to an existing problem. Do softer or more rigid bristles clean your teeth better? Rigid. And why does it seem like rigid would do that?
More resistance.
Yeah, so, and that's what I would have thought, because you're scrubbing, it's really stiff, and it's just gonna knock off the plaque and the goo and whatever you get into your teeth, right? The reality is softer bristles actually result in shining your teeth because the bristles get into the cracks and crevices and they kind of maneuver in and they actually do a better job cleaning. So let's just say, for example, you find a product on Amazon and they're using very rigid bristles on the toothbrush, and you decide to come out with one that has softer bristles. So your product is the same kind of product, the only difference is it's a superior version of the same product. So it's still a toothbrush, but you just changed one thing. These bristles are softer. That's the only thing you had to change. Now I want you guys, give me an example of a better solution to an existing product that exists today, where someone came out with something to improve upon something already in the market. Anything at all that comes to mind. Could be from any category or product industry.
Okay, let's take, for example, a yoga mat.
Yeah.
There have been yoga mats for a long time.
Right.
But how about the yoga mats who have a very cushiony base to them, so that when you are doing your postures, they give you a better posture, they give you a better form.
Right.
And that product is much more selling better than just a regular yoga mat.
Right. That's very good. So you have a regular yoga mat, and then you have one that has a better cushiony base. That's a better version of a product that's already out. That's perfect. Yeah. Anything else, guys? What else comes to mind?
Save money on gas by using electric cars.
Boom. So you already have a car. It's still a car, but it's a better version of a car because it's Tesla or any kind of electric car. Okay, what's another example?
Bluetooth headphones.
Yeah? Keep it live ready. So Bluetooth headphones, what?
You used to have a cord, and the cord would come unplugged if you were working out or got caught on something.
Right.
Bluetooth headphones eliminate that, but they're still headphones.
You guys ever been at the gym and you have this and you're running and all of a sudden your hand hits the cord and it comes out of your ear and you feel like half of your head just was ripped off? Like it's a horrible, like the music stops and it's like, whoom, and you feel completely, you know what I'm talking about? Like I hate that feeling. You're exactly right. So like the AirPods completely fixes that problem. Anything else come to mind?
Hypoallergenic earrings instead of normal metal earrings that can
Yeah.
give you infections.
Yeah, that's really good. So it's still an earring, but the difference is it's improved. It's now solving a problem that no one else is solving. I'm gonna show you guys step by step exactly how to build a product that is a superior product to a current product that already exists. You wanna find out what people dislike most about the problem being solved. Let's say there's 7 top competitors and you know they're the top competitors because in Amazon, they're selling the most number of times per day. Usually I like to use between 12 and 15 sales a day minimum as sort of a measuring bar to say they're a top competitor. Let's just say there's 7. And of those 7 competitors, you begin to read their reviews. And you might only just need to start with the top 20 critical reviews. You can actually sort them on Amazon by clicking and sorting by the critical ones and just start reading the top 20 for each of the 7 competitors. As you read them, you're gonna see a ton of differentiation ideas. And probably several people are gonna say, man, my dentist told me that the bristles on my toothbrush are too rigid. I had no idea. I was the same as you. I used to think exactly the same thing, that tougher, more rigid bristles are better. So I need a superior version. How do I get softer bristles for my toothbrush? The cool thing about this is the people giving the reviews, those are customers. Those are people using that product, which means your chance of understanding what they want is really high when you're reading what they have to say. So find out what people dislike most about the problem. And you're not just gonna find the complaints only mentioned once or even often, but spread across the reviews over many. Let me give you an example. Let's say of the 7 top competitors, 2 of them only have reviews that mention the bristles are way too rigid. That's okay, but that's not great. Because if the other 5 don't mention it, and you fix the problem by creating a toothbrush with softer bristles, guess what's gonna happen? You've only differentiated your product against 2 of the competitors. Even if both of those competitors had 25 complaints each, that's 50 total complaints, it's still not as good as finding a complaint that's spread across all of the competitors, or at least the majority of the competitors. So you want to find the complaint that is listed the most times, that is spread out most evenly amongst the top competitors. In fact, you might find there's one complaint that it's mentioned 100 times as a problem, but the point you study and differentiate your product based on is not that one, but one that's only mentioned 85 times. But because it's spread out amongst the top competitors more evenly, when people go look at your listing and they notice that almost all of the other listings have the same problem, they're more likely to buy your product. Now there's a formula you can use to do this. Let's just say you have 45 complaints on only 2 listings. Now that's a lot of complaints, but you have 5 complaints for a different thing on every single one of the top listings. The 5 complaints is the one you're gonna go with. It's a more top priority opportunity to differentiate than the 2 listings that have the 45 complaints. Now usually when I get to this point, people ask, well, how do I know when it's enough? There is a formula I'm gonna share with you that you guys can use. Multiply the number of competitors with that complaint. Let's just say the complaint is the toothbrush is too long, so I have to brush my teeth from out here, or it keeps hitting my wife in the eye. You're gonna multiply the number of listings that it's on by the total number of complaints. Okay, let me give you a really simple example. Let's just say you're studying this toothbrush as your product and you're looking at all the top competitors, and there are 7 top competitors. Scenario 1. Competitor 1 complains about the toothbrush being too long, because you have to brush your teeth from out here, 25 times. Competitor 2 complains about the toothbrush being too long, 25 times. And the other 5 competitors never mention this as a problem. How many complaints is that total? 50. How many points does that equal though? 2 times the 50. In other words, it's mentioned on 2 different listings, 2, then you multiply it by the total number of complaints, 50, so it gets 100 points. So the higher the points, the greater priority it gets for differentiating that problem. Now let's do example 2. You're still studying the same product, but now you're looking at a different problem, a different complaint. Again, there are 7 top competitors, and competitor 1 complains about the bristles. Let's just say this is your toothbrush. A little bit dangerous. Being too rigid, and they complain about it 8 times. Competitor 2 also complains about it being too rigid 8 times. Competitor 3, 4, and 5, so 6 of your competitors all have complaints 8 times each about this being too rigid, and the last competitor, the 7th, mentions it twice. So you have 6 times 8 is 48, that's 6 of them. The last competitor mentions it twice. Now we have a total of 50 complaints. Interesting. The same number of complaints, but the difference is these are spread out. So at first it's not gonna look like it's that big of a deal. I mean, come on, one of them only mentions it twice, but if you take the math and you say, okay, I'm gonna multiply the number 50 by 7, the number of competitors, instead of getting 100 points, how many points do I get now? 350. And what this does is it protects you from getting too buried into just a couple listings and you forget, wait a minute, customers are looking at all of the listings. That is how you differentiate. And the cool part, you guys, is you're asking the customer, tell me what you want. And they're like, I'm done with this toothbrush. Okay, fine. I'm gonna create one that has softer bristles for you. Method 2, build a new solution to an existing problem, not a better one. Now we talked about from the hard bristles to the soft. Okay, that's a better solution. That's a better product. Well, now we're talking about a new solution to an existing problem. You're gonna use the exact method you did in my last point, except the difference is you're not improving on a product, but you're building a brand new product. Now, how do I design a new product? Now, assuming you've already done the review study, and we already talked about that, I'm gonna take you through the steps of what it means to design a brand new product. Now, a lot of people aren't aware of this. They're just looking at Alibaba and thinking, let me change the color to red, and that might work. Or let me change the packaging to something more sleek and professional. That might work as well. But what I'm talking about is a whole new design. When I say design, I don't just mean the color, I mean the actual contour, the actual physical product. This takes longer, it's more expensive, but it will differentiate you much more powerfully. First, go to all your top competitors and buy one of their products each, and then use the product. So you're just gonna brush your teeth, and you're gonna test them out. How are they doing? You want to experience the product. Second, you need to visualize a better product. So get the products, get a big whiteboard or a wall, test the products right on the wall, experience the products, think through it. You have to embody the experience. You have to get really obsessive. Now, some people get frustrated at this point because it's really like the sky is the limit. Where do I go? Like, you're not fixing a problem. You're fixing a problem with the whole new product. So there's a billion options. You might have to Google the competitors. You might have to go to YouTube how-to videos and find out what those do-it-yourself people, the problems they run into. Oh my goodness, I didn't think of adding that piece to make this better. At the end of the day, you are experiencing what your customers experience. You might even have to draw silly pictures on the whiteboard just to visualize what it's like. Almost become like when you were a kid. I mean, how many of you guys drew when you were a kid? I've never met an adult who didn't draw at some point. No matter how bad it was, and mine were pretty bad, you draw, it's fun, you're free, you're scribbling, you're imagining, you're free. We have to almost become childlike at this point, where you just let yourself imagine.
Forget the restraints.
Exactly, you forget the restraints, you just enjoy it. Bonus. Before we go on, if you click below, you're gonna see a little link and it's called the Product Research Evaluation Tool. If you click that, it's 100% free. It'll help you evaluate the data and prioritize it when you're looking at different products to sell on Amazon. After you've bought the competitor products and you've experienced them and you've dreamed and you've imagined and you've written down and you've done everything you can to come up with a superior product, a new design of a product, and remember guys, give yourself room to dream here. You have to be sort of a dreamer, a romantic, a visionary. Give yourself permission to try anything. Don't let the part of your mind that's like, oh, that won't work, that won't work. You have to let the left side of your brain go to sleep for a little bit and let the right side of your brain come alive. This is your own story. You can write it however you want. You'll be surprised at how many things you can create if you let your imagination lead you. But now we're moving to the technical side. Now the question is it possible? No matter how great my dream is, if I can't build it, the dream won't become reality. And I'd rather have the dream become something real. So number 3, you're gonna hire a product engineer, and you're gonna have them use CAD drawings. That means computer aided design. It's a software used by architects, engineers, product developers, artists, and they do this to create precise drawings or technical illustrations. So CAD, you could search this on Fiverr, you could search this on Upwork, you could search this on FreeUp. CAD designer, product designer. Find someone who has really good reviews and say, look, here's the problem, and here's what I need you to do to fix it. 4th, you're gonna get a prototype created. Now, prototype just means the first version. So if you're coming out with a new toothbrush, and let's say, for example, it's not gonna have softer bristles, it's electric toothbrush. That's a perfect example of a new product that does the same thing for the same market. It still cleans my teeth. The difference is instead of me moving my arm, it's spinning itself. And actually it's the vibrations that help knock off the pieces of food and the plaque and all of that. So you're gonna get a prototype created. That's your first sample. Understand, when you get that prototype and they ship it to you, it may or may not work. This is why communication with your product designer is really important. Even though product designers tend to be really good technically, sometimes they're not really good at communication. So you might be going back and forth a lot. Find someone who's really good at communicating. So you're constantly giving them feedback as they go. Otherwise, you're gonna spend a lot of time and money, be frustrated, and have to go with someone else. And keep in mind, it's possible. You still may have to do that. You do all your research, but part of this is finding the right product designer. 5th, once they build the prototype that you like, you're gonna find a molding factory to build a mold. Now, a mold is like this big, massive block of steel with these cavities, and it allows them to create the product in mass quantities. So once you find a molding factory and they can build that for you, now you're ready to have them build it in mass quantities, and now you're ready to go to production. Number 3, okay, so we talked about find a better solution for an existing product. We talked about find a new solution to an existing product. Now, build a new solution to a new problem. In the past, we were fixing the product itself, a better version or a new version of that product. Now we're talking about, yes, a new product, but a whole new market. So technically, you are making your potential buyers aware of a problem they didn't even know existed. You might think, well, how is it a problem then if they didn't know it existed? Well, welcome to Marketing 101. I'll give you an example from the Egyptians. Since 3000 BC, Egyptians have been using toothbrushes, and no one used floss, to our knowledge, until 1819. Floss was invented by a man by the name of Levi Spear Parmley, and what's fascinating is all we did was use a piece of string. just a piece of string to clean your teeth. That's a new market. Instead of talking about cleaning the outside of our teeth, we're now talking about getting in between in the gums. In fact, do you believe that toothbrushing or flossing, which do you think is more important? I'm just curious. Flossing? And how come?
It gets more of the grime in your gum.
Yeah. It gets way into those crevices, and that's where cavities tend to develop. Water can clean off the outside stuff. Just drinking water is great for your teeth. But the majority of dentists will tell you, or dental hygienists will say, floss is more important. In fact, they say like floss 2 to 3 times a day. How many of you guys floss 2 to 3 times a day? Anyone? Okay, I'm with you on that. But this is a whole new product. So in point 1, it's like you improved your boat. You're in a boat, there's a hole in it, you fixed it. In point 2, you actually switched that out for a better boat. But in point 3, you switched out the ocean. You're on like fresh blue water. The whole market is different. The market, the ocean, is a completely different river or sea. And now you're onto something completely different. The last one will require by far the most creativity. Because you're not just thinking about a brand new product, going from a regular toothbrush to an electric. You're thinking about a new market. So now you're thinking huge, okay? Huge, sorry. I can't help myself. You're thinking big, like the world, the globe. You're thinking about Russia. You're thinking about China. You're thinking about India. You're thinking about Mexico. You're thinking about Africa. You're thinking about the world. Well, Seth, how in the world do I apply this? Well, I'll tell you what, 2 ways. Number 1, it depends where you go on your computer. And number 2, it depends on where you take your body. Let me explain. Number 1, go to online interest groups. There are so many online interest groups out there that will give you just a ridiculous amount of data. The funny part of this is where you have to say goodbye for a while to Amazao, Helium 10, Jungle Scout, Viral Launch, all of those. You just have to say goodbye to them. They're not really gonna help you here because they're only giving you data that's already on Amazon. You are thinking about a new market that no one else dreamed of yet. This is where the greatest risk and the greatest reward happens. And some of you might be like, well, Seth, let me start with the improved version of the product. If you're just starting, I recommend that. And then later you go with the new product, and now you're at the level where you're like, you know what? I am ready to do a completely brand new market. Facebook groups, Etsy products, Pinterest, some of the most brilliant creative minds are in these places, and they're just staring at us, waiting for someone who's nerdy enough to say, that is a brilliant idea. I'm gonna turn that into a business. See, a lot of the people on these groups, many of them, are very nerdy. And they don't, and this isn't a criticism at all, but they don't have the business mindset or the capital to pull it off into a business. A lot of them are the dreamers. They're dreaming, they're the romanticists. They have this vision of a better world, but they don't know how to turn that into reality. That's where you come in. Whether you partner up with them if it's their original idea, or they give you your own idea just by reading their ideas, you have something that branches off of that. This is how you find a whole new market. This is how you find a completely different market that no one even thought about before. Like, think about it. If you focus too much on a toothbrush, how in the world are you gonna think about floss? You can't. You have to think bigger. You have to step back. You have to get away from overly obsessing, and you have to think larger. Second, travel the world. We talked about where you're gonna take your eyes on the internet to these different places. Now take your body around the world. Literally, if you can, travel the world. You will get some amazing ideas. Let me just give you an example. Do you know that Chinese people in China use umbrellas a lot? Even in places where it hardly rains. Why would they use umbrellas in China? The sun, exactly. Now, do you often see dudes outside with umbrellas in America? Would it seem a little weird to you? Maybe? And maybe not women, I don't know.
It's not raining.
Yeah, if it's not raining, it would. Like, I don't think I've ever taken an umbrella out in the sun. I just don't think, and that's a cultural thing, but actually it makes total sense. I mean, come on, I got, skin almost white as milk. If I go outside, I turn into, Larry the crab. So what I need to do is I need protection. Well, in China, it's very common to have umbrellas in the rain and the sun, especially the sun. So someone came up with this brilliant idea and they said, you know what? Let's create an umbrella sharing type industry. So what you do is you have these umbrellas and you put them on this little station, and then someone else can come along and take it, and then the next one uses it, and it's a very low cost, but it makes a ridiculous amount of money. Did you know that idea that was just a few years ago started first? Then someone else said, wait a minute, why not apply this to scooters? Because I know, Americans love their scooters. I'm not gonna get on a motorcycle, but I'll get on a scooter and I'll go downtown and it's cool. Even in Austin, there's all these scooters going all over the place. They're pretty cool.
Lime and Lyft.
Oh, yeah, Lime and Lyft, because Lyft now has their own version of scooters. Yeah. So this is a perfect example where someone took an idea from a different country, because let's face it, if you live in America, you're limited by American ideas. If you live in Mexico, you're limited by Mexican ideas. If you live in Africa, you see what I mean? You have to break into other cultures, and it doesn't always require you going there, but something about being there will open your mind to a whole new way of doing things. That's why Japan and China have set the stage for the future of trains. They're ahead of the US in that. Especially Japan, amazing trains, China as well. So you go to different cultures, it's gonna open your mind to things you never thought of before and brand new markets. And what's cool about it is what you're really doing is it's giving your brain permission to think creatively. So even though umbrellas and scooters are very different, one is about the sun, one is about transportation, the concept still applies. Oh, wait a minute, Airbnb and Uber. You see what I mean? It's the same thing. You're pulling from another industry and you're applying it to something brand new. And that is how you can find ideas. And you can use that and then go back to point 2 and figure out how to design your whole new product based on what I just told you. Really quick recap. So you all got this. Method number 1, you're gonna build a better solution to an existing problem. Method number 2, you're gonna build a new solution to an existing problem. From the toothbrush to the soft bristles, and then from there to the electric toothbrush. And step number 3, you're gonna build a new solution to a new problem. So we're still cleaning teeth, but not really. Now we're cleaning in between teeth. This is a new problem. We didn't know we had it. And all of a sudden, people's teeth fall out less today as a result because of a piece of string. And if someone could build a $700 million industry in the US alone off of a piece of string, I think you can do even better than that. If you found this free content super helpful, click the subscribe button below. Click that little bell too, so it will notify you every time we come out with free content. Comment what you loved and share this with your friends. Let them know the world about Just One Dime. I'll see you guys next time.